Hey everyone, I have another video for you today, this time with an update covering the controller flight settings on Enlisted. It's been a couple of months now since I posted my original video, and the game has received a bunch of patches in that time. With this in mind, I thought it was a good time to revisit the controls and see what new options we have. This setup will allow you to control your plane in a very similar fashion to Battlefield, and I provide instruction on how to set them up close to the Battlefield 3 style of controls, as well as the newer style from the more recent titles. I will mention now that I do use the Xbox Elite Series 2 controller, and I have the stick click set to the paddles on the back. These settings will work on a standard Xbox or PS5 controller, but you may need to switch up a button here or there to make things comfortable for yourself. I will be talking about the Xbox controls, but I will provide the equivalent PS5 buttons on screen for you. By the end of this video, with a few personal tweaks of your own along the way, you should be dominating the skies of Enlisted in no time. First thing I want to touch on is the setting for screen joystick mode. As pointed out by Boss Ivan in the comments of my previous video, you no longer need to set screen joystick mode to up on the directional pad and trigger it when getting into a plane. There is now a setting within the game settings menu that will allow you to set screen joystick mode to default, which is a huge help. This step is very important as it allows the plane to move away from the pointer circle. Let's head there now and make sure that is set first. Hit start, then move down to options. Next, move over to game and you'll see the option for plane control mode right in the middle. Select the center option, which is screen joystick mode. Now that we have that set, we will head in and change the individual flight control settings. Hit start again and this time go into the controls menu and make your way over to the plane tab. First thing we will do here is highlight pointer control and hit X to clear this off. If you're setting up your controls to be like Battlefield 4 or newer, you can leave look, zoom, all shoot settings, drop bomb, and throttle as it is. For Battlefield 3 settings, which are my personal favorite, highlight look around and click A to enter the axis setup. Within this menu, you will find subsettings that will allow you to fine tune your options even further. Highlight modifiers and hit A to enter the bind menu. Now click in your left stick. If the game tells you that this is bound to another setting, that's okay, we'll deal with it as we go along. You can also make a few other adjustments here, but it will be best to revisit these settings after a few test flights. Hit B to confirm and then set zoom to RB, and all three shoot settings to LB. Next, set drop bomb to the directional down button. The next setting we will set is shoot rockets, which we will set to A. Now we will set the sticks for the movement of the plane. First we will set the ailerons, which control the roll of the plane. Highlight ailerons and enter the axis setup. Now bind right stick left and right to the axis. If your dead zone is set low for your soldier controls, you may find that the plane is a little jumpy. You can use the extra dead zone setting here to offset it, without affecting your soldier controls. You may also mess with the non-linearity slider as you see fit. My best guess is it affects the response curve of your stick. Like the view setting before, you will be best to go for a few test flights and make adjustments to these on the fly to your own preference. We will set the elevator next, which controls the pitch of the plane up and down. Head into the axis setup and set the axis to right stick up and down. While in this menu, set invert axis to on. Next we will set up the rudder, which controls the yaw of the plane, allowing it to turn left and right. Once you have entered the axis setup menu, bind left stick left and right to the axis. I'm going to pause here for a quick second and talk a bit more about the rudder. There seems to be a bug in how the rudder reacts while using this configuration, especially with the smaller fighter planes. It is nowhere near as apparent on the larger planes, but it is still a nuisance nonetheless. While making adjustments to the rudder while flying around, the rudder seems to turn the plane without affecting its trajectory. As soon as you let go of the stick, the plane overcorrects itself back to its original direction, bouncing back and forth until coming to rest. I have posted on the Enlisted forum about this issue a couple of times, and I have been assured they are working on a fix, so hopefully we will see it soon and this part of the video can be ignored. But until then, keep this in mind. Okay, now back to the rest of the settings. Just a few more to go and I'll have you in the air for a test flight. Next up is the throttle. For the newer style Battlefield controls, ignore this setting and leave it as it is. For the Battlefield 3 settings, head into the Axis menu for throttle and clear off the Axis. At the bottom of the page, set decrease throttle to left trigger and increase throttle to right trigger. That is the last difference between the two styles of controls. The rest of the settings apply to both. Next, set both extend and raise flaps to right stick click. Once bound, highlight extend flaps and hit Y to bring up the button setup menu, and then set this to on hold. Next, set raise flaps to on release. This will give you full control over your flaps with just a single button. Next, set auto prop pitch and auto radiator both to up on the directional pad. You will have to hit this button every time you get into a plane to actually initiate this option. The final setting we will look at takes us back to the main tab. About halfway down, you will see Plane View Mode Sensitivity Multiplier. This will control how fast you look around while holding the left stick click. There is another bug here, however, as the view modifier does not decouple the stick from the ailerons and the plane rolls while you are looking around. Hopefully this is also being fixed soon. With that last setting adjusted, you should be ready to head into practice mode and try out your new controls. You may need to go into some of the Axis setup menus to adjust some dead zones and non-linearity curves to your personal preference, but I found the default worked well for me overall. Hopefully this has helped you get your control set up in a much more comfortable configuration than the default pointer control. If it did and you enjoyed this video, hit the like button to let me know and help others find it. That's all I have for you today. Until next time, keep gaming.